Hello, today we are going to talk about this week's assignment, and it is called cloning experiments. So last week we learned how to use the cloning tool and the spot healing brush to do what is called retouching. Retouching is when you do minor adjustments to what might be considered flaws in the photo. For example, if there is a wire in the sky and you want to get rid of the wire, you can clone it out. We got rid of a tree that was sticking out of a girl's head, and we also cleaned up acne on someone's face. And yeah, so we used the tool, to clean up. We also got rid of the bars that were in front of a monkey from the zoo. Okay, so this week though, we're going to use the tool in a creative and experimental way. And this is really part of what artistic practice is. When artists work with tools, with media, they experiment with it. They learn how to use it in what is considered maybe the proper way first, and then they can see how they can push it, how they can use it in a creative and experimental way and come up with their own ways of using it. And that's what I want all of you to do this week, is to push the limits of that tool, of those tools, and to see what you can do, okay? To come up with some original and creative artwork. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go through the slideshow first. You're going to be making 3 different pictures, okay? The first one, you're going to clone using only portraits of you in any way you choose. Okay, so really, if you want to use portraits of someone else, I'm okay with that too. So really, it should be portraits of people. Okay, so some ideas are to use a really large brush, to use a really small brush, to use unusual brushes. So there are other brushes than soft and hard round brushes, and you might try to use some of those. Try, again, I just mentioned the soft and hard edge brushes. Try to use both, see how it's different to use one or the other. Clone from many portraits into one. You might even take from many different people, and clone into one person and create a person. Crop to make the picture better composed. Is a possibility. Oh, when you're done, you might crop the picture and compose it better. So after you're done, that is a possibility. And then, of course, try to do something I didn't show you. I'm not showing you everything you can do. You're supposed to experiment. This is just, a place to start. Okay, so that's number 1. And we're going to take a look at that real quick in Photopea in a second. These are some student examples. So these are pretty simple. So in this one, the doubling of the girl's image kind of accentuates the gesture that she's making. In this one, the doubling of the image makes the boy look kind of nervous. This is just strange and interesting. The girl used cloned circles of just like parts of the sweatshirt to create shapes, and she cloned her, some of the folds and made them into mouths, and she made polka dots as well. This one is a bizarre, fly eye kind of picture. This is kind of interesting, using a different kind of brush. Okay, and you can see she cloned the t-shirt, but it looks almost like there are bees or bugs surrounding her head. In this one, the girl used a very small brush and kind of scribbled it around. In this one, these are all in Photoshop, so there may have been some, more some different brushes than you might have available in Photopea. They may be a little more limited in Photopea. But yeah, this was a shape brush, okay? So it was the shape of a star. And then she's doing a lot of doubling as well. So some of, we're also going to take a look at maybe masking some things too, which we learned the week before. Okay, different brushes, cloning just parts of the body. This is from many portraits of the same girl. Okay, put into one. Okay, different brushes. Funny, you can be funny and have fun with it. The girl gave herself a beard. Okay, so those are some examples of cloning from one person or one picture of people into other pictures of people. The second idea that you're going to work on is to clone from pictures of animals and plants into pictures of you. So you're going to, or people. Okay, so you're going to combine animals, plants, and people. Okay, if you don't have your own pictures of animals and plants, you can use some off the internet. Okay, you can either do screenshots or try to download images that are larger in size when you look at the dimensions. Okay, you want to maybe get up closer to the thousands of pixels rather than just like 200 or 300. That's going to make a difference when you're cloning from one picture into another. If you have some pictures that are bigger than others, you might, some images might look more pixelated. So keep that in mind when you're selecting your pictures. Okay, it's great if you can use your own pictures of plants and animals, but if you don't have them, you can go online and take a look. Okay, don't just clone a big animal head over yours. I want you to be more creative than that. Okay, clone from many different pictures. These are all possibilities. Okay, use the selection tool to keep the cloning contained. Use the masking tool to refine your image. Okay, and change the opacity of the brush. That's another possibility. At the end, when you're done, you can crop the picture to make it better composed and try to come up with something I didn't show you. So these are some student examples from the first time I did it. I always say to kids, this was the first time I did the project, these are some of the examples. I think you guys can probably come up with something even more creative. Okay, so this one, the girl selected the flower and then she cloned it over her face. This one, there's some masking done here so that we can see through, the tiger face and see the girl's eyes. And then they clone different animal parts over the face. So it's not just one big head cloned over someone's face. Here we've got the flowers as eyes. And again, they probably use the masking tool to kind of get in between the flowers, the negative spaces here, and mask those out. Okay, again, a plant, and then using the masking tool to bring the eyes back to cut through the plant layer. Okay, and a weird kitten person. Okay, they selected certain areas, I think, to keep the cloning contained. Ooh, okay, some plants surrounding the people. Okay. This reminds me of some kind of little animal from Star Wars or something, or character. This is an interesting looking, almost gas mask like thing made of a flower. I love the way this tree kind of comes up the middle of his body. Okay, so those were all, again, student examples from the first time I gave this assignment. All right, now the third one, I only have one really good example to show you after we're done. I want to leave it open so that all of you kind of can create your own thing. The third one, you're going to start with a totally blank document and you're going to clone into it. Okay, clone from pictures of, things that you have taken. You can use some pictures off the internet if you want to, but I love it when you use your own pictures. Experiment with this one too and push the limits. Okay, this one that I'm going to show you is a really interesting design-like project that one of my former students, Gracie Almaraz, did. Okay, I really love this. This is a picture of her dog and then other pictures she had taken. All right, so this is just one example. There's not, one specific thing I'm looking for. This was just, one student's idea of what to do. All right, so now it's your turn, and you are going to be opening Photopea. Okay, I'm not going to really go through the whole thing on, Photopea, but I'll kind of give you an idea. Okay, so on this first one, I'm going to open from the computer, and I've started a cloning experiments folder here, and I separated pictures these are all pictures that I took. I separated them into selfies, plants, other, and animals. Okay, so these are some selfies that I took. So I'm going to maybe open some different angles of pictures that I took of myself with my phone. Okay, all right, so again, I'm not going to really go through everything and create a final image, but I just want to kind of give you an example. I'm okay with you trying the spot healing brush and the cloning tool. I have a feeling though the cloning tool is going to give you more interesting results. But if you want to experiment with the spot healing brush, you absolutely can. Okay, so first off, some of the things I mentioned that you can experiment with is the size of the brush. So using a very large or a very small brush are some of the possibilities. The hardness of the brush, soft edged or hard edged. And then we have different kinds of brushes here. Again, we don't have a ton of different kinds of brushes, but there are enough things to experiment with. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to try a soft edge brush first. Okay, and I can look, decide which of my images I'm going to start with. So maybe I'll make this my base image. I might want to, I'm going to duplicate it just in case I want to go back to the original. Okay, and I'm going to go to maybe this image. Okay, and I am going to make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm going to clone my mouth. Okay, so I can push Option and click. Okay, and then I'm going to go to one of the other pictures, and I can, clone right over my picture. And the more I click, the more I'll see of the picture. So I can click it again, like that. All right, let's see. Is the other one going? No, I've got both of them going the same way. Now, since I have them both going the same way, one thing I could do is I could, reverse this picture or flip the picture. So if I go to Edit and I go to Transform, I can flip this image horizontally, okay? And that way, when I clone it, I'm going to be getting the opposite, the opposite view of my mouth. All right, let's go back over here. And now I can do this. Now, I'm hoping you won't just do one picture, okay? I'm hoping you're going to try to do many different experiments, okay? Not just one. Okay, so maybe now I'm going to let's try a different brush. Okay. And I'm going to make my brush bigger, and I'm going to clone my eye. Okay. And notice that when I kind of move it around, it shows more of the picture. Okay. I don't know that I really like that. Remember that you can go back in history. If you don't like something, that's a possibility. Okay. Maybe I'm going to go back in and I'm going to push the option bar. I'm going to go back to the background picture and kind of clone, you know, over here. Clone the eyes. Okay. And you saw I dragged it across. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this one and turn this on. And maybe I'll put it right above my eyes. Whoop, I forgot. Command Z. I was on the wrong layer. There we go. Make sure you're on the right layer. Okay, so that's a possibility. I'm going to go back in history again. Now, what if I make a blank layer? I can make a blank layer. So I went down to the bottom here, and I clicked on make a blank layer, new layer. And now, if I go ahead over this, okay, now it's on its own layer, which means I can move it around. Okay, I can make it bigger, edit, free transform. Ooh, I kind of like this. And I can even do things like I can change the opacity. So I can change the whole opacity of that layer. There we go. I can even, this is something I mentioned, I can even add a mask. So down here at the bottom, I know I almost cut off my screen here, but I can add a mask. Now all of the masking we've done so far has been on adjustment layers, and all adjustment layers come with a mask. Okay, but I'm going to add a mask, and then with a mask, if you use the black brush, so I'm going to make sure I'm on black. Okay, and I'm going to select a soft edged brush. Okay, make it a little bigger. Remember, I can use my bracket tools to make the brush bigger too. So I have to select the mask, and now when I paint over it, okay, it gets rid of part of the picture. Now if I want to bring it back, I absolutely can. Okay, so if I go back and switch it to white on top, make sure it's, that's not white, but I have to make sure it's on white. Okay, now I can bring back that layer as well. You can see over here where I painted black, it hid the layer. Now I'm painting white again, it's bringing it back. So if I make the brush a little bigger and just kind of, whoops, go over the whole thing to make sure I get rid of all the black that I painted originally, then I know that, you know, I'm going to bring the whole thing back. Okay, so masking is a possibility as well. So I'm going to go back to when I did mask. Let's see. I'm going to go back in history. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's where I did mask. Okay, and now I'm going to play around with maybe bringing this over. Maybe I can duplicate that layer and make it bigger. Edit, free transform. So I'm totally experimenting. I'm just seeing what I can do based on what I see. So I'm going to put this one over the top, and I'm going to lower the opacity some more. Okay. So I'm really kind of liking this, you know, and then I would save it as both a PSD and as a JPEG in the end. Okay. So on the second one, so I'm going to go to File, Save as PSD. Okay. And since I hadn't named it before, I want to name it here. I can call it Cloning Experiments. Can't spell today. I don't know if, let's see, I'm going to put 1-1 because it's the first one and it's my first, you know, version of it. Really, with this kind of thing, you want to try many things. So don't just stop at one. All right, and then just in case I decide to later upload this as my finished one, I'm going to save it as a JPEG as well. Okay. All right, there we go. Now maybe I can try cropping it as well. So I just went to the crop tool. Okay, maybe I like it better like that. Or I guess if I were going to do it that way, I would want to make it kind of more even like that. So maybe I'll save a different version that's simply cropped differently. Okay, so again, this is something you're going to experiment with. All right, so I could save this one as a different version. Okay, bring it over here and call it Cloning Experiments 1-2. I'm gonna Experiments 1-2. If you want to abbreviate, you know, and call it CE instead, that's fine. Okay, and of course, you know what, I didn't put my name, but of course, you should always put your name on your files. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in history. Okay, I'm going to go back to before I cropped it, and I'm going to delete the extra layer. Okay, so now I'm back here. The next thing you would do is you would open up the plants and animals. So I'm going to go to my desktop, go to cloning experiments, and I've got plants and I've got animals. Okay, so you can decide, and you're really going to be doing a similar kind of thing. So I'm going to take a look at what I have here. I actually love this image because now this is from a tree, a birch tree, and I love that this looks like eyes. Okay, I've always wanted to use that as eyes. All right, so I am going to go to this picture. I'm going to duplicate the layer. Okay, and maybe even I'm going to put a blank layer on. Okay, now I'm going to go back to, I can kind of close up my other ones there. Let's see, make sure I'm okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this picture. This is one that I took, and I'm going to change the brush maybe back to a soft edge brush. Okay, and I'm going to make my brush nice and big. Ooh, I could clone that into the tree, or I can use push option. Remember when you're using I didn't mention that before because we had gone over using the cloning tool before, but if you've got to push option and then click. Okay, and now I have copied that. Now that seems like too much, too big, so I'm going to go back in and make my brush smaller. Okay, push option and click. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to the picture of me, and I'm going to go, you know, and put this I over me. Okay, now I can go back and maybe I can clone the other one. So I'm going to push Option, I'm sorry, it's Alt on the, not Option, but Alt on your PC, on your laptops from school. Okay, this time I'm going to make another new layer. So I can put the other eye over here. Now they're on two different layers. So if I wanted to mask, I absolutely can. I can mask them separately. I'm adding a mask. I'm using the brush, switching to black, making the brush smaller with the bracket tool. And now I can kind of see what I can do here to kind of block out some of that so that only the eyeball part of it shows. There we go. And I can do the same thing on the other layer. If I click on the other layer, add a mask, and now I'm over here. Because it's on a separate layer, I can mask that one separately. Okay, so I've got my two eyes. I can move them around. Okay, and it looks like I have some residual left over here. So I'm going to do that. I can also switch to white and bring it back a little bit more, maybe at the bottom, if I kind of cut too much of the eye off. Okay. I suppose if I hadn't worn my glasses, that might have worked out a little bit better. The glasses kind of get in the way, but it's still interesting. So we can do something like that. Next, I'm going to maybe open another plant. Let's see, maybe I'll open this one. Okay. And I'm thinking about using this almost like hair. So I'm going to go to Image, Rotation. Image, let's see, where is rotation here? Image, image size, image transform, there we go, rotate. So I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees this way. And again, use the cloning tool. Okay, I'm going to push the Alt key. And this time I'm just going to kind of slide all the way across like that. Go here, I'm going to put a new blank layer on and maybe kind of slide across like this. Bring the whole thing in. Okay, I can bring the whole picture in if I wanted to. Okay, and I can also maybe add the mask and decide how I want to, you know, what things I want to cut out. Oops, I've got to switch it to black. Okay. And maybe do something more like this. And then I can go to Edit, Free Transform. Let's see, Free Transform. And rotate this around. Okay, and do something like this. And maybe I'm going to duplicate that a bunch of times. So it starts to, whoops, did that not duplicate? I'm going to drag it down to the duplicate layer, bring it up, duplicate layer, and bring it up, and duplicate a layer again, and bring it up. Oops. Kind of went to the other tab because I went too high there. Okay. All right, so I could keep going with this, but you're getting the idea, I'm guessing. So I'm going to crop this. Maybe I would continue adding things to my face to create kind of a weird creature. Okay, alrighty, so that is the second one. You're going to add things from plants and animals. I only did plants, but you can also add things from animals. All right, and then the last one, so well, I'm going to save this, save as, let's see, save as a PSD first. Okay, drag it onto the desktop, name it Cloning Experiments. -1 because it's the second choice. Okay, and I can save it as a JPEG as well. Okay, and rename it. Okay, I'll rename it later. All right, now I'm going to close these up. Okay. The last one, you're going to start with your own blank layer. So we're going to make this, let's see, what did I tell you to do on the, let me take a quick look. Sorry about that. There it is, cloning experiments. Okay, nope, that's cloning practice. Cloning experiments, did I put it over here? And open the PowerPoint file, open recent, there we go. Okay. All right, on the final one, I just want to double check what the size is. Okay, so we're going to start with a new blank document. Okay. And we're going to, I'm not seeing that I told people to do it any particular size here. I thought I did. But, okay, I'm going to tell you what to do. Okay, so we're going to make these 10 by 12. So we're going to go to a new project. We're going to go to inches, and we'll call it your name. And cloning experiments 3-1, because this is the third one. We're going to make the, you can make it a vertical or a horizontal. Okay, so I'm going to make mine a vertical. So I'm going to make the width 10 and the height 12 and make it 300 resolution with a white background and create. Okay, and now I am going to open some of my pictures. Okay, so I might go to, let's see, I'm gonna go to cloning experiments. I might open one of my pictures of me. I might open, let's see, I'm gonna go to the other, and I'm gonna try and see what I have here. Maybe I'm gonna open this one. Okay, and I'm gonna go to file. I'm gonna open 3 right now. I'm gonna go to the animals. Let's see, cloning experiments, animals, and let's see, I think I am going to open this one. This is actually a double image that I put together. Okay, all right, so on this one, what we are going to do, we always get the same, you know, the cloning from the last one. I'm going to push the Option key, and I'm going to kind of move it around my face, and I am going to go to the original, and I'm going to clone onto a blank background. Again, so I can move things around, okay, because I don't want to, you know, I want to be able to change it as much as possible. Now I can, like if I clone it all over each other on the same exact layer, these are not on separate layers, okay? So this is like together as one piece. If I look here, this is one piece here, okay, which I can duplicate, I can make bigger, or whatever. And let's say I'm going to go to this one and I am going to make my brush smaller and I'm going to clone the stop sign. All right, and make a new layer. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just do this, and the stop sign is much smaller, but if I make it on different layers, I can have different stop signs that are larger. I'm going to keep making different layers. I'm going to have 3 stop signs. Okay, now on these stop signs, let's see, if I go to this layer, I can go to Edit, Free Transform, and hold the Shift key to keep it proportional and make it bigger. Okay, and push the check mark. Now I can go to this one, Edit, Free Transform, hold the Shift key, make it a little smaller, and go to this one and Edit, Free Transform, and make it larger, but not, still smaller than the others. Okay. All right, and then my last one, what did I have? I had this picture. Okay, so I'm gonna get this, oh, it looks like when I did my screenshot, I got something else. I did a screenshot from one of my photo sharing sites, but okay, so I'm gonna go to the cloning tool and I am going to push Option and click. Okay, and kind of move over the whole thing, make a new layer, and you can see this picture is a little bit smaller than this was taken a while ago. So there we go. Get the picture in there of the goat, or I think that was a goat. Okay, so with this goat, again, I can edit, free transform, and make it very large. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I added a mask to it. I have the black brush, so I can get rid of that part right there. Oops, I was on the cloning tool, that's why. Let me go back. Go to the mask, go to the brush, and I'm on the black brush, and switch to white, and bring back the top a little bit. So I'd have to work on that a little bit. Switch to black. There we go. Get rid of that. And I could duplicate that and move it around. Maybe edit, free transform. And again, I mean, I am just playing with this right now, so you guys are going to be doing the same. So maybe I can put it over that. And I could even go in and mask this. Oops, Command Z. I have to make sure I'm on the mask, not painting on the picture. And I'm just making weirdness right now. I don't know where I'm going with this. But you would experiment and see what you could do. Okay? I don't have anything I like just yet, okay, but you're gonna like duplicate things and paint with the cloning tool, okay, maybe, and kind of see what you can do. Whoops, I made a new folder there. All right, so that, and then of course when you get something you like, you can save it. I don't like this one, so I would want to keep working on it. Okay, so have fun experimenting and save your work, and yeah, just we'll be turning it in. I'll give you a couple weeks to work on this because we're going to also be shooting for light, shadow, and reflection while we're doing this, but the shooting part is outside of school. All right, thanks guys, have a great day. Bye.